All right, Michigan wins 24-10 over Wisconsin. We got a little post-game show here at the Michigan Football Report. I am James Yoder, as always, doing the at-home setup as watched most of this game, about the second and third quarter from my son's, third and fourth quarter from my son's baseball game, but got back here in time to the post-game short, which you can see now on the YouTube channel. And now let's get into it, my 5 instant reactions from this game. No analysis from anybody else. This is just my takes. I take notes every single game and give them to you. So let's look at number 1. Tough game early. I thought a great game late, right? I mean, the first quarter, especially that first drive on defense, was tough to watch, tough to swallow, tough to take in as a Michigan football fan. I thought Wink Martindale didn't show up that one, but as always, fans, you, me especially, I mean, I'm not sure, you overreact to what you see, and you go from there. So Michigan gives up 75 yards and 6+ minutes on the clock to Wisconsin on that first drive. But after that, Wisconsin didn't do much of anything in the entire game, and they had to swap a quarterback out, and they had to try a lot of different things. And it kind of felt like towards the end of the game, last 4, 5, 6 minutes of the game, that Luke Fickell, Ohio State's Luke Fickell, Buckeye Luke Fickell, that's another win over the Buckeyes. He didn't even want to win. He wasn't even trying to manage the clock to potentially get the ball back, to potentially score quickly, get an onside kick with 2 minutes left, 1 minute left. And it didn't work out for him. And so I was like kind of weirded out by them as Wisconsin now falls to 2-3. And people are going to be calling for Fickell's job, I'm sure, as they started off decent his first year, struggled last year, went under 500, and then are now under 500 this year with a tough schedule in front of them. I never felt Michigan, maybe after that first drive, then Michigan responded instantly with a touchdown. Never felt that this game was in question, but I did feel that first half was very boring. Wide receiver play in the first half, very challenging. I didn't think Bryce Underwood played very well. And which leads me to my kind of point here with this first one of tough early, great late. This team in the first half seemed tentative, playing with Sherrone Moore back on the sidelines. I saw some people on Twitter saying, hey, bring back Biff Poggi. But they went into halftime, came out, and seemed to hit on all cylinders. Scored 14 points in the second half. Could have scored potentially 21 there with the Wolverines just kind of downing it, not trying to punch in as they were inside the red zone as time expired on this game. Point number 2, instant reaction number 2. Hello, Donaven McCully. Hello to the Indiana transfer. I tweeted this out. Gus Johnson from Fox seems to call certain guys the Alabama transfer or whatever. Justice Haynes, the Alabama transfer. He does it for Ohio State. Caleb Downs, the Alabama transfer. Where Donaven McCully is the Indiana transfer. But I think he's going to play a little better, over his career at Michigan. Had 600+ yards or so in 2023. Kind of opted out after a game or two in 2024. 6 catches on the day, 112 yards, 33 of them on one catch. And that catch on the sideline where he twisted his body, caught the ball, tight defense, and got 1 foot down was one of the more exciting plays, one of the more heady, smart plays of the year for this team. It should prove now to Sherrone Moore, after 5 games of this team, 3 coaching for him, and watching from this hotel and home the past 2 games, Nebraska and Central Michigan. I think this needs to be a wake-up call for Sherrone Moore and for Chip Lindsey, the offensive coordinator, that they need to throw downfield to Donaven McCulley. I kind of equate it to, back in the day, Braylon Edwards 20+ years ago, or Mario Manningham, Adrian Arrington in 2006, 2007, etc., and some other guys throughout the last few years. You need to go deep to this guy twice a half, maybe 3 times a half, 5 times over the course of the game if you maybe average that out, to give him a chance to go up and make those type of plays. I think this can and should be a 80 to 125 yard wide receiver every single game for this team. But as of yet, they haven't really used him a ton, averaging about 50 or so yards per game in 4 games leading into today. 112 today, and I think you should see more of that going forward. Guys, the Michigan football sideline shirt, which we've told you about a bunch over the last 3 or 4 weeks, is now on clearance. Normally $64.99. It is on clearance permanently. So it's going to say $26.09. That's right, $26.09. The Michigan Players Sideline shirt. If you've seen the show back in the studio, you'll know what I'm talking about. I bought one. It's awesome. Buy one, too, $26.09, over 50% off, well over 50% off, right? It's normally $65. You use the code FLANNEL, FLANNEL. It should prompt you on the website, but make sure you use the code FLANNEL, FLANNEL, to get that big discount. Now on clearance, that means it's going to go fast. Act now. Get one for yourself. Get one for a loved one, or hell, hold on till Christmas. Get a discounted Michigan football Jordan brand, the official players sideline shirts. Want to ask you guys this one. Grade Sherrone Moore's return to the sideline for Michigan. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F for Sherrone Moore's third game this year, but first game back from a suspension. And funny enough how you think about this, Sherrone Moore might be the only coach in college football history to be head coach of a top 25 team that he didn't coach them to a game that they won in September, right? The first game was August 30th, right? I think it was 30th, 31st. And then they won that one. Lost the game September 6th to Oklahoma, and then he set out the 13th, set out the 20th, or whatever it was, and then by 13th, 20th, by the 27th, and now we're into October. Sherrone Moore did not lead this team to a victory in the month of September, yet Michigan's still in the top 20, and will obviously, I think, move up from here, maybe a couple of spots. So give me a grade for Sherrone Moore, A, B, C, D, or F on today's game. Number 3, instant reaction. Welcome back, Rod Moore. Welcome back, Zeke Berry. Remember Zeke Berry? Got hurt in the Oklahoma game. We haven't seen him since. Rod Moore played a few snaps, 20 snaps or so, was out there last week against, our last game, I should say, for Michigan against Nebraska, but finally made his impact today. Was flying around the ball, right? Made a really nice stop, batted the ball down, could have had a second interception, or maybe at the time a first, but did have an interception in this game. A great play, just watching the ball, going over the top and making an interception for this Michigan football team. Rod Moore led the Cardi boys with an interception, with a turnover. Zeke Berry missed a tackle, which turned out to be vital in Wisconsin's first drive, which they scored a touchdown, the only touchdown of the day. But after that, I thought played pretty well after missing, frankly, 4 weeks of play, right? He played September 6th, and now it's October 4th. So we're talking 28 days in between games, 27 days and change for Zeke Berry. So welcome back to those two guys. What I think it just gives this team, it's maybe not more talent, because we have seen the emergence of guys like Jaden Magnum. We have seen the emergence of Jaden Sanders and other freshmen that have been playing pretty dang well. But the emergence of, or the return of Zeke Berry gives you another body, a guy who's been there, a guy who was part of a national championship team and started in multiple positions last year, leadership on that defense, which I think this entire team has lacked for the last, this season, maybe even some of last season, frankly, if you hear about some of the rumors that are coming out of the player interactions last year in 2024. Rod Moore is the epitome of that, right? You heard Blake Corum in the pregame. Welcome back, Rod Moore, national championship Rod Moore, team captain Rod Moore. And it's really the guy who's kind of stretching it forward. He is one of the few remaining players, one of the only remaining starters, at least, from that 2023 national championship team is back in the lineup, and I think he will be a huge part of this team going forward. I don't think we're going to see 2023 play out of him ever again after the knee injury, missing 18 months, but he is a leader out there, and that's exactly what Michigan needs to win out to beat USC next week in LA. If you've yet to do so, subscribe to the Michigan Football Report, as we're coming up on 36,000 subscribers. We were the number one Michigan football show in 2022, in 2021, in 2023. Somebody beat us in 2024, but we're trying to do again. Had a really nice September and on pace to be the most watched Michigan football show on any platform, TV, radio, podcast, YouTube, again in 2025. So subscribe, help us get to 36,000 subscribers. Next up, low-key solid game for Bryce Underwood, right? That is my fourth instant reaction. I put on my halftime video. If you guys follow me on YouTube or on Twitter, or on Instagram, I usually do a halftime show, just a 50, 60-second quick instant reaction. I thought it was a really lackluster second quarter for Bryce Underwood. I thought that Michigan's wide receivers struggled at times, dropped some Samaj Morgan again. But low-key solid game for Bryce. He had a nice second half. 19 of 28, right? So 68, 67% completion, 270 yards passing for him. One of the more quiet 270-yard passing games I can remember. You look up, you look at the stat sheet in the fourth quarter, you're like, whoa, he's got 230 already. He's got 240 already, 270 now, 9.6 average per pass. 1 touchdown. Again, no interceptions. He did have a fumble, which Michigan, he got back, so didn't have a turnover today. And I think it's one of the great things you're seeing out of Bryce Underwood. Through 5 games, I believe he's only got 2 turnovers, 1 interception, and 1 fumble, if I'm correct. It could be 2, whatever, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 turnovers so far. What you also saw was I don't want to say the anti-emergence, but I mentioned Andrew Marsh earlier. This has been rumored the last 2 weeks that Marsh and others were going to get more chances. I think we saw the step back of Samaj Morgan as a big piece of this offense. Andrew Marsh, at least to me, has supplanted him as the starter. 4 catches, 80 yards receiving there for Marsh. I don't think Samaj Morgan is proven or done enough to be a starting wide receiver for this football season. I do think Andrew Marsh, after today's performance, should be in the starting lineup next week against USC. Let me know for you guys who was your player of the game for this Michigan football team. Go down and comment. Was it Bryce Underwood? Was it Donaven McCulley? Was it the next guy I'm going to talk about, Justice Haynes? Andrew Marsh had a nice couple catches, 4 catches total for 80 yards, but a couple really solid contested catches. Was it someone in the defense like Rod Moore, like one of the defensive linemen who were getting after it, making it difficult for Wisconsin today? Kind of, talking about Jimmy Roller, 7 tackles today. Derek Moore, 5 tackles and a sack. Zeke Berry with 4. And down from there, a bunch of guys with 3. Let me know down in the comments your Michigan football player of the game in this 24-10 win over Wisconsin. Last one, Justice Haynes, Heisman, 5 games, 500-yard performances. Today was another big-time performance. Another huge run, 43 yards. Probably could have made a move, gotten in the end zone, but he looked great on it. Good tackling by Wisconsin down inside the 10-yard line. 19 carries, 117, 2 more touchdowns for Justice Haynes. He came into this game, I believe, at least after Michigan's last game, was leading Power 4 in rushing yards. I didn't check if someone had passed him last week with Michigan on the bye, but after today's game, no one in the country in a Power 4 school has more rushing yards than Haynes that have played 5 games. There might be a guy or two who played 6 games that have more than him, but 5 games, 500-yard performances for him. The greatest start to a career in Michigan football history. 5 games, 500-yard performances. And I think you got to start talking about him for Heisman. I really do. Next week, you go on the road to USC. It's going to be the test of the year for Michigan. I will say this. If Michigan goes, when Michigan goes out to USC, goes into the Coliseum, next Saturday night, it's 4:30, I think, local, 3:30, 4:30 local. It's a night game on the East Coast. Michigan wins that game. You get another 100-plus performance out of Justice Haynes, a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. He will leave that game as your Heisman frontrunner if that happens, when that happens. And Michigan will be about a 75-80% lock for the college football playoff after that game. You go out and you beat USC on the road in the Coliseum. After that, you got Washington, you got Michigan State, other schools, you got Northwestern, Maryland, and then Ohio State beat Ohio State again. Could very easily go into that game, the Ohio State game, at 10-1 if you beat USC next week. All right, that's today's Michigan Football Report. We'll see if we can get out an overreaction Sunday. If not, we'll be back with a video on Monday. Thanks again for watching. Michigan wins 24-10. Go Blue.